Okay, imagine this. What if someone told you that the only way to really see is to put on a blindfold? Sounds kind of crazy, right? Well, today we're going to dive into a classic mystical text, The Ascent of Mount Carmel, from the 16th century poet St. John of the Cross. And he makes a claim that's just as paradoxical, that to find true spiritual union, you first got to take a journey, willingly, into total darkness.
So let's just start with a question that really flips our usual way of thinking on its head. I mean, what if everything we think we know, everything we associate with light and knowledge, what if that's only half the story? What if real understanding isn't about adding more stuff, but about embracing a kind of profound emptiness?
All right, so our journey begins as we step willingly into what the text calls the night. But listen, this is not the kind of darkness you get when the sun goes down. No, we're about to explore the darkness of the soul itself.
So what in the world does night of the soul actually mean? Well, the text defines it as the privation of the appetite in all things. That's a fancy way of saying it's a conscious choice to just hit the pause button on all our cravings, to stop looking for that hit of satisfaction from our desires, whether they're big or small.
And let me tell you, the text does not sugarcoat what this feels like. It says flat out that if you choose this path, you're choosing to live in darkness and a complete void. I mean, that's a really powerful and honestly a pretty stark image, isn't it?
So to really get this, the text uses this amazing analogy. Think about it like this. The soul is compared to an eye, right? An eye needs light to see stuff. Well, the soul feeds on worldly things through its appetites, its desires. So, what happens if you turn off that light? If you extinguish those appetites? The soul is just left there, in darkness and emptiness.
Okay, but this brings us to a really crucial point. It's so easy to hear the word darkness and immediately think of, ignorance or not knowing things. But the text is super specific. This isn't about your brain or your intellect. It's all about the world of feelings. The darkness is that emotional void, that emptiness you feel, when the satisfaction you usually get from things is just gone.
So, you might be wondering, okay, how does a person actually do this? How do you enter this state? Well, the text doesn't leave you hanging. It actually lays out 5 really clear, practical paths, and each one connects directly to one of our 5 senses.
And the process is really systematic. For every single one of our 5 senses, the soul has to be mortified. Now, that's an intense word, and it literally means to put its cravings to death. So by denying the pleasure you get from hearing, from seeing, from smelling, tasting, and touching, with each one, the soul takes another step deeper into this self-imposed night.
So the bottom line here is that this is not a part-time gig. According to the text, someone who has truly, fully denied and rejected all these sensory pleasures is, for all intents and purposes, already living in this state of night. They're already in that profound internal darkness and emptiness.
Now, I know what you might be thinking. This sounds incredibly bleak, right? Almost like some kind of self-punishment. But there's a really deep philosophical reason behind this whole radical idea. So let's dig into why this darkness is seen as not just necessary, but actually fundamental to the soul's entire journey.
It actually all goes back to an old idea from the scholastic philosophers called tabula rasa. You've probably heard of it. It means clean slate. The basic idea is that when a soul enters a body, it's totally ignorant. It knows absolutely nothing on its own. It has zero built-in knowledge about the world. And this leads to this incredibly powerful metaphor. So picture this. The soul, this blank slate, is like a prisoner trapped in a dark dungeon. And that dungeon is the body. Its only connection to the outside world, its only way to get any light or information at all is through 5 tiny little windows, our senses. So think about it. What happens if you block up those windows? Yep, total darkness.
Okay, so if the soul is a prisoner, and our big plan is to plunge it into even deeper darkness, what's the point? I mean, really? Well, this is where we get to the true purpose of the night. And get this, it isn't about punishment at all. It's about liberation.
And this is where the text makes another crucial distinction. This is not about just being poor or not owning a lot of stuff. You could literally own nothing and still be completely tormented by wanting everything. The real prison, the text argues, isn't the stuff. It's our own will and our own appetite that just can't stop thinking about it. So the goal isn't just self-denial for the sake of it. It's really about detaching the soul from its cravings, to stop it from constantly feeding on the world. The whole point of this emptiness is to get to a state of true freedom, to finally be free from that constant pull of desire.
And just when you think you finally got your head around this whole profound journey into darkness, the text drops a bombshell. This entire process we've been talking about, denying all 5 senses, emptying the soul of its worldly appetite, that's only the first kind of night. It's just the beginning.
Which, of course, leaves us with a pretty big question. If this entire profound journey into darkness is just the night of the senses, what other, deeper, more spiritual night is waiting for the soul? What's the next part of the journey it has to take to finally reach the dawn?